be thank you. Is to talk about things that matter. Yeah. To talk about your inner heart. Anyone? All right, quite simply, a boundary is what is okay, not okay with you. That's you to close your eyes. I want you to see that trust and you're sitting up straight. Close, you don't have to be worried. I want you to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I want you to bring to mind somebody in your life, whether a parent or guardian or a friend or a boyfriend or girlfriend, that you find difficult to talk to. And the way they relate to you, which is not okay with you. When you've got that thing, raise your hand, keep your eyes closed. I'm waiting for everybody's hands to raise. Good, they're coming up. And drop your hands. That's a boundary. Kindly. Okay, I want you to think of two more things to know. No, it's not okay with you. That are not okay with you. No. Those are boundaries. All in intrinsically for us and what's not okay. It's not always easy to just say, to the other, talk about physiology, and this is okay. But what do we? As the clue to what's important to you. Hold for 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 2, 3. Hold. 2, 3. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 4. Release. Feeling calmer? Okay, to end with two things. A provisio. If in a conversation at any moment you're uncomfortable, you can say, I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to continue with this conversation. So very important.
Okay, so thank you to for the icebreaker. Are you all feeling a bit more open? Good. First speaker is going to be Mr. Dewhurst, and I'm going to come in.
Healthy, happy homes and environments where they will be cared for. So I went to the University of Cape Town and I did my undergrad in social development, specializing in human rights work, children's rights and human trafficking. I'm about to complete a course through Cambridge University in international leadership, and about human rights work, United Nations mechanisms, and I was encouraged by them to come back to South Africa and mission that works for justice. So we are Justice Desk, we're paid to educate and equip in the area of human rights. We do that through advocacy work, which is report writing, which is through lobbying. We do education and awareness through doing talks, justice and advocacy campaigns, a youth ambassadors program in schools across South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And then we also do training in human rights, as well as many other different kind of trainings, anti-trafficking, anti-abuse, those sorts of things. We experience justice work firsthand, as well as volunteerism projects and other projects that skill, especially township youth, so that they can get skilled, educated, and hopefully full-time employed. So we We have loved every moment of it. We're only 3 years old, but in that time we have achieved a great amount. I'm very proud of my team. They worked very, very hard. We've received many. We've been selected to be a youth ambassador organisation of Baroness Scotland, who is the director at the Royal Commonwealth, and we also recently received an award from Her Majesty in Buckingham Palace, where I've just returned, which is very fancy. And I promise, even though I promised everyone that's still a bit of a country and bring it back, I have lots of people watching. You haven't seen this. Definitely the first time I've seen someone who's the fashion designer that I have no idea who I can't process it. I can't take processes and very passionate about making a difference throughout the Commonwealth and throughout the world. We are also United Nations advisors. So what we do is we know what's going on within South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe in regards to human rights, but also just to try and use the UN resources and their skills and expertise to help our youth on the ground to make amazing, amazing programs and projects to change society. So in a very big nutshell, which I tried,
All right. So we need to get together.
I just keep going.
Yes. So we are going to ignore Eden. She's working. So we are pretending that she's not doing it. So I am 21 years old. I was born with cerebral palsy and degenerative neuropathy. So I only know about it yet. I don't feel like I've lost anything. So don't feel bad for me. I was kind of raised to be an activist, raised as an activist. So from the age of like 3, like, what's wrong with your legs? I had an answer to that. And I think through just interacting with other people, I grew a different kind of ability to activism. Because my activism is just don't really have enough time to go. Partners who are beasts of men. Yeah, it's very strong. And
So think about that, and I'm gonna have a question, you have a comment. Whilst the mic is, I want you to talk about the idea. So I don't know how many of you anybody older. So I don't. Oh, awesome! Anybody older? Okay. So they stop. Okay. What's the answer? So I wanted to find out from you, not you know, but how you feel about the youth and what your fellow peers think about it. Want to vote? Are people interested in voting? Are people interested in impacting, making change? Do you think they can make a difference? Okay. I'm not like that. So ask a favor of a few people early on, quick. All right, let's do this.
Good morning. My name is Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. I'm from the City High School. So with the upcoming elections and all the rallies and campaigns that are going on, I've also like to ask elders around me, who are they voting for? Why are they voting for what they're voting for? The answers I've been getting have been like more on the lines of, well, I'm voting for this party because of what they've done, and I'm voting for this party because I'm afraid of what they're going to do. And what I've realized in my community is there's a big sense of people are scared, and people are still concerned about party. And a lot of family members have been saying that even though they see something's wrong with the party, the ruling party now, they don't feel as evaluating the campaigning, and I see and I choice. I care about my choice. It kind of raises a couple of issues and some serious arguments as well. And I guess that's where, even though I can only vote next year, I'm kind of wary of that. I don't know where to place my vote, because even though I feel as if the one party is good, my parents are pushing me towards loyalty and towards it.
Simply because we're not actually exposed to the importance of voting. So all in all, that the government is not nearly doing enough to make sure that we know how important voting is. Obviously, I know that voting is important, but other people will be actually exposed to this such events such as this breakfast that we have. So that's why I think that the government should actually implement some, in fact, make sure that each and every person, in fact, each and every young person is actually aware of what is going on in South Africa and how they can use their right of voting to make sure that they have a voice. Because voting is worth having a voice over what is going on in the constitution of the country.
Good morning. My name is Tyrese. I'm from the CFCR. My observation about democracy overall, right, is that democracy succeeds on the fact that people make decisions. We don't have that in our country, as in we don't have a lot of people who are really educated or understand how the constitution works, how voting for a party or leader is more of an impact in your life than what seems. Like that most of the people they vote are driven by loyalty. Many of the people are just driven, by the scenes. If the ANC is pretty much strong, maybe for example, in a certain area, they make a lot of rallies, and especially in the areas where it's more rural, and they make campaigns and maybe like give small tokens. Easily persuaded by that to a party than to actually look at a country and analyze the situation and see what's best. So I think maybe overall as a government, they should pay more attention in educating people about what decisions and how important voting actually is. And at least if you can get things like literacy up, because really you can't force people to vote for a certain party and not for a certain party. But if you can get our literacy rate up and get people who can actually look at the vote and analyze it, look at our country and analyze it. I'm not saying they should switch a vote, but then they'll be able to make a much more educated decision rather than being persuaded by crowds or by very good speakers. They make a much more educated and analyzed vote overall democracy.
So if you just make a note of the question or the comment that you want to make, we will get around to you. Okay. You can ask last one and then we can.
Ashley Christians, also from the Seekers. Ashley Christians, also from the Seekers. Now, I think by listening to everyone else, that is why history plays such an important role, because I'm a history learner myself. And in these classes, I get taught consciousness about the society and politics around myself. Therefore, it also increases activism amongst the youth, and we can then respond accordingly as well. And it's really crucial to know our history, as we are the future leaders, and therefore we can, because we are of age to vote, or are becoming age to vote, we can make more responsible decisions when choosing which the pattern next. Therefore, as a history learner, I'm saying this is quite important. That's basically it. Thank you, everybody. That was really, really great questions and comments. So thank you so much for that. I love it when people can get it. I wish I was thinking the way you guys are thinking at your age. So that's really, really fantastic. I totally agree with a lot of you. I think as a young person, the last thing I was thinking about, even though I wasn't old enough to vote, but was about voting, was really about, was I thinking about democracy? No. And what leadership really meant for me. And I think those are a few points that you all broke up, and I'd like to address a few, and then I'll hand over to Gales. I think with regards to loyalty towards certain individual parties, we live in a very, very exciting country. I travel the world and I see many things. I was in the UK for Brexit, which I'm not sure many people here have any idea what that is. But the UK left the European Union. Not sure if you guys know what that is either, but you can go Google when you get home. And been to many different countries and been exposed to a lot of different governments making really interesting decisions, but still nothing is as exciting as rich, painful history in the other country. That needs to be, it's not something we can forget, and it's not something we can push away. That being said though, human rights is something that is here now, today, in this moment. And what we need to do is say, who do we have loyalty to more? A certain political party or people who are living right now today? And I think it's up to you to make that decision. But what I would really encourage, and something that I found really, really profound when I was in school, when I was your age, was I went out and I volunteered. I went out and I met people who were really experiencing the human rights violations that I had no idea even existed. The comment was made, I think, at the back, someone said, you're not exposed to why it's important to vote. Why is it important to vote? Do we know why it's important to vote? And I think most that we're not exposed to what is really happening in South Africa. People whose human rights are violated on a daily basis. we do a lot of work, particularly in township areas. And I was actually speaking to a couple of our youth in our program last week, and I was saying to everyone, you're all 19, you need to go vote. And one young man in particular said to me, we're not going to vote. And I was like, why? And he was like, well, because, nothing's really going to change. But also this is just the way life is. And that absolutely shocked me, because the fact is, poverty and inequality is not natural. That's man-made. And if it can be made, it can be unmade. And those are the kind of things we need to be focusing on. Why is it important to vote? Because we're now living in a country where people are starting to think it's normal to live in poverty, where people are starting to think it's just the way things are. And we need to be the voices, and we need to be the people that are standing up for those people who don't have the opportunities that we have just to be here today, but also to have the education that you are all getting. So learn as much as you can. Go and expose yourselves to what's out there, to what our people are experiencing. Go speak to someone. I always say, don't just read the stats, go learn a name. Go introduce yourself to someone. See their face, find out their story. You can forget a person. So I would really encourage you to go out there, meet the people of South Africa, and then see for yourself, why is it important that I vote? Why is my voice and my vote so important? Because I'm speaking up for people whose voices have been taken away from them. And that's really, really important. I also just wanted to mention, someone mentioned leadership and how it's supposed to be educated people, but also just people with integrity who are out there serving our country. And I think a huge difference is, I think we've kind of forgotten what leadership is. A position of power. It's a position of great influence, but I've achieved and I'm out there, I'm the leader. I'm the boss, yes. What we've forgotten is that we're all in this together. And there's this term that I love to use, and I feel like I love leadership mean for us, but what does leadership mean for you in your future? Is the leadership that we're seeing today the kind of leadership that you aspire to? Do you aspire to be the kind of leaders that we have today? We have some really great leaders, so yes, in many cases. But I think we need to start challenging that dialogue, and rather seeing it instead of a position of power, we see it as a privilege to serve. We see it as a great opportunity and a great opportunity for sacrifice, to go out there and to really serve by example and lead by example. And I think that, yes, education, which was the comment that was made, is very important. So learn as much as you can. You can never stop learning. I get very nervous when people say, okay, I'm an expert speaker, and I was like, who are they talking to? Who's the expert? Because I don't believe you can never be an expert, you're constantly learning. But we need to say, who's the kind of leader that I aspire to be? And maybe we should start changing the dialogue as to what a leader is. It should be a person that sees their responsibility as serving us. We should all be serving and looking after each other and protecting each other's human rights. If that's not the dialogue that our leaders are communicating, is that a leader we need? And I think for our generation, what's really important, we need to think about that. We need to think about the kind of leaders that we deserve, put up there, to realize that a government, we aren't there to serve our government. Our government isn't really there to serve us, we're there to help each other to make the country a better place. And we need to be the ones that put that into action. What kind of leader do you deserve? And what kind of leader should you be fighting for?
Okay. I have to follow that now. Cool. So we've spoken about the Constitution a couple of times now. And I think what's amazing about our Constitution is that it lays the foundation for everyone. But in many instances, it's just a document. That was really cool when we came into our office. And I think as young activists, we need to claim that and be like, this is what you said we deserve this. And stand firm and and I think that's something that is kind of epic about young people, is that we have a mixture of naivety and and not having inhibitions. So a lot of the time, young people are a lot more willing to take a risk and this. But so often in our communities, the people around us say that you need to be quiet. Like you can believe that, but just don't say it too loudly because you may influence other people. But isn't that the point? So I think this is talking a lot about human rights, and I think what is also important to remember is that so my context is disability. And I remember not ignoring Eden's snoring. I hope we're more interesting than that. Is that somebody asked me, newspaper interview, they asked me, what do I think about apartheid? And that's like a very question to answer in like a page article. But what I said to him was that apartheid ended, but I also feel that disabled people, we live in our own kind of apartheid still. Because how many disabled people are here? People with a disability here, aside from me? How many people here know a person with a disability? Cool. Are they included in society in everyday activities? Do they go out with you whenever you do anything? Is it easy for them to be included, or is it a mission? It's okay for you to say it's a mission. It is a mission. So supposed that we get for just someone. Like we have our human rights, but we have to claim them. And we have to house and we have to realize we know what they are. I think there's a big issue in that people think that young people don't know what we're talking about. But we really do. And we know what we're talking about in our own lives. We know what our lives are. So we can present that to the world and say, this is what my life is. And we need to acknowledge that that's important. And that maybe that needs to change. That's me.
Thank you, Katie and Jace. I just have 2 points before I return the mics to the floor. The first is that I noticed when the speakers were talking that all of you nodding your heads. And I think that we often discount you and what you know and what you see going on around you. You know, that you guys are aware that the world is changing, that you know people who are disabled and that they are affected by what we don't do, what we don't see. And I think that voter apathy in the youth is not because you are ignorant, but you don't claim My name is Amanda Bogula. I'm from Educated High School. And on the opinion about voting and young people, I believe that people are becoming more politically aware. When I look at my friends, I can speak to them like they have open forums, we voice our ideas, so on and so forth. Now, when we come to the problem of our parents and the older generation voting only on nostalgia and imprinting that opinion onto us, I don't necessarily believe in that. I believe that young people believe there's no change. Because when we look at the political party we actually have to vote for, we have to vote for the lesser of two evils. Even if you look at America, Trump and Hillary, there's problems with both Republican and Democratic nominations. I think this is the worst. We have to literally vote for the lesser of two evils.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Clausen. He's going Mikey. This is a youth parliament. I asked, what do I want? What do we want? I asked my parents last week, who they can vote for, like, I don't know, anyone. Why not? What did they do? They did nothing for us. So the word political awareness is so significant for me because our youth is not aware, and the government doesn't come to invest in our youth. What's a good leader? A leader is someone that emphasizes and focuses on long-term investments. What that means, and who is the future? We are the future. So they have to invest in us also because we are the future actually. So it comes to our schools to invest in us and show us what does a voice mean to us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Keisha Latahan. I'm from Para High School. Okay, so, sorry. I'm a very emotional person. So as I'm sitting here and I'm listening to everyone's speeches and everything, and I'm thinking back to like I listened to a speech about disability and inclusivity. Sorry. So I'm thinking back to last night. So I'm at the kitchen with my parents, and my father comes like he always tells us about a story. He has a friend at work who has a daughter who's also disabled. So he always tells us about like how his friend tells him like his experiences with the daughter and stuff like that. He shares with us a lot of stuff. Like this, I think yesterday morning his friend had like a bad experience or something. Which sometimes he doesn't know what to do because like it gets yes. And so then I told him like every time I listen to him and I listen and I don't really comment, I just listen to him. Last night I told him that like I think like moving away now from political stuff, whatever, just in general. I think answer to everything is really like I know it's going to sound probably cliche or something, but I think it's love. Like I told him like for example, like to accept something like that or anything, to deal with anything, for example, it's love. Like I think even inside this political stuff going on and like I have like a strong fight for equality within myself. Like whenever I have to write an essay for English or Afrikaans, I'm not a very creative person. I'm more into the math world. But whenever I have to write the essay, all I can ever think about is just like I always write about fighting in youth, like fighting for rights and that type of thing. That's all I can ever write about, and all I can ever write about is love. Because in the end, like I think that like none of us really know, like all of us have a purpose in life, and everyone has dreams and stuff. And I think that like to make it fair for everyone, you have to like love, like they say in Afrikaans, when your mother means liefde. You have to love someone to like also make it their rights and something like I don't think that without love, like with love, it's possible to treat the next person unfairly. So I think basically is I think this the youth and all of that, like we have love for each other. So I think that as a youth, we should embrace that love and show it to the world and really fight and never give up. That's basically what I wanted to sum up.
Good morning. I'm Shanta Adams from Konrad Adenauer High School. I'm not one much for a speech or anything, But commenting on one of Stetler's learners is that she said that history can help us give us more education about democracy as well because we have a hard past. Class orientation. History is optional, but class orientation is compulsory. And through class orientation, we can also educate young youth to how to vote. And also, South Africa has a hard past. Why reflect on the past if we are the future? We can make a change now than what we did in the past. What happened in the past happened in the past. So let us make a change.
In that part now
One more question, and then we're going to move right to the table.
Good morning, all. I'm Azola from the Junior City Council. Just as we've been taught back in primary school that voting is an important right that we as citizens have to exercise. Back in the days in South Africa, we were not given the opportunity, the platform to exercise this right to vote. So now we have, but we're still struggling to get people to vote. There are still countries around the world that the government are not giving their citizens this right to exercise. And those countries, why do we have to beg people to vote? If vote, I tell. And another problem is that people are not educated about this. They have this mentality that even if they vote, nothing is going to change. And people from poor backgrounds, for example, they also believe that their conditions will never change. They've got that mentality. But we as the youth, this is going to affect us in the near future. We have to go back to our communities and make people realize that it is not about how privileged or how disadvantaged they are. It's about what they do with what they have. Thank you.
Before we hand the mic over, I'm going to just revert with our director. Do we have enough time to ask a few more questions? Or 9 o'clock very strict? Okay, one more question. I'm very sorry. And do we have a gentleman with a hand up? Because I feel like the ladies have been running the show. No gents? All right then. Oh, there we go. Sorry, ladies. So after he asked the question, we're going to come back to our panel. And unfortunately, despite your enthusiasm, well done for that, we have to draw to a close because you are actually
going to school.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jaden Linus from Secondary High School. One thing that I picked up is kind of illegal, right?
Yeah.
Was kind of all right. One thing that they say they should just be left in pause. I don't right. We shouldn't focus so much on what happened in the past, about the moment. But I think what we should do is we should actually take that, learn from it, and build on it. Like, so at least you see isn't the best. I'll give it that. But what are we going to do to change it? It's our job now. Well, not our job right now. We have to study, obviously. But in the future, when we try to do something and take up a job, why don't we try something that actually makes a change and a difference in our life, in not our lives only, but in other people's lives as well. Even saying the future. And show people can show people that we are different leaders, we are willing to take charge, and that we are willing to make a difference in not only our lives, but in the communities' lives, not in the lives of South Africans, but the lives of everyone in the world, not the global community. Thank you.
I'm so excited that everyone's getting excited and I think it's really interesting that we have this questioning of voting, because I voted in 2014 and I was so excited, and I think that as disabled people, you are allowed to vote at home. And I didn't want to do that. I got to the line and they see I'm disabled. It works out really well, because but also I was willing to stand in that line because I'm like, I want to do it. So I think it's so important, and I think as students and as when you eventually get to be students really like to point out when things are not working. But if we don't vote, we don't actually have the right to vote. And that doesn't work in our favor either. So that's the one thing. See, we share notes. This is how we got to do varsity. So you spoke about your dad's friend who has a disability, and it's difficult, and we have to acknowledge that. But I think what's also important is to have a sense of humor about things. And sometimes we take things too seriously. Jess can tell you stories about getting my wheelchair into a car where she could have cried and left me on the side of the road.
Almost.
But because that's what you want to be doing. And there's always a way around something. And I think young people definitely have that problem solving and make a proud attitude. And I think we need to harness that better. And we need to learn that we are very capable of making epic things happen. about social media and how important that is educating people. And I agree with that, but social media is also a little bit problematic because maybe it's not spreading factual things. Maybe it's just popular opinion. And we need to be aware of that as well. So we need to make informed decisions about what we do, and we need to find, if we see something on Twitter and we're like, oh, that's interesting, that's a problem, maybe go and investigate that from more reliable sources, because we need to be responsible with, we can't just expect to be given knowledge, we also need to question knowledge. We need to question whether it's actually valid, and we need to decide whether we agree with it or not. So we're not just gonna take whatever everybody gives us, because that's not. There was one other thing I wanted to say. Oh, yes. We've spoken a lot about our history as a country and how it's not a great history and we don't want it to be repeated. But this is the history that we've lived. So my thing is what is the history that our kids worthy of telling future generations? Because currently we learn about apartheid history, but we're making history right now. And we need to make a positive history. Because I think our country has had enough of segregation. And we need to make positive things happen. And we need to record those things. And we need to sell that and show that that is actually a possibility that we
The mic right there. That's good. Sure. I am. Later. But you know what? That is so cheesy, and that is so. I love you. And no, I was a bit, worried at the beginning, and I said, "Oh, what do we?" Because I have never been exposed to people with disabilities before, I was kind of freaked out, and I said, "Well, how am I going to communicate? You're a real person, once you that." Yeah. I was like, "What do you mean feed you chip? Like in your mouth? Like what?" But it was something that I had to learn, and now it's something that's second nature. Now it's quite cool. I eat and can help Kelly eat at the exact same time. Yeah. But that only became normal when we forced it to be normal. When Katie would say, I remember once your wheelchair's battery was kind of going a bit flat, and I just kept walking, and Katie was like all the way behind me. And then all I heard was, Jazz. And then I'm like, what? Katie, and I'm like, I just lost Katie. Or the one time that she laughed so much that she forgot to drive the wheelchair in the middle of a road crossing, and then the light went green, and all these cars came towards it. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that one. But just think now, everywhere I go, even when Katie's not with me, I'm very aware that every building I walk into is not accessible. I'm very aware of the fact that when we sit down at a table, there are no straws at the table. So how's Katie going to drink? There are certain things that we need to be aware of that we're not, because, and I'm not saying it's a terrible thing, all I'm saying is accept to other people out there. Because we are a rainbow nation. We feel such amazing, diverse people, but also people who live very different lives, and we need to be aware of it, but also we need to make sure that we are putting ourselves with them. I can never truly say I know what Kaylee experiences, but I'm now in a position where I can live a life with her, we can be together, and there's no barriers between us. The same goes for people who live in vulnerable communities. I have young men in our program, one of which failed his matric exam, so he came to us for a tutoring to try to rewrite. We said, you know, where are your books? And he said, oh, no, I've forgotten them. So we said, cool, don't worry, we have some extra ones, gave them to him. He looked at that book and he started tearing up, and we realized it was the first time in his 12 years of schooling that he had ever had a textbook, ever. Yet he was supposed to write his matric exam. We wondered, why did this kid fail? Exposed to other people like that. Your age, you, imagine someone exactly like you was an opportunity to have a decent schooling. The only way we can find out about that is if we meet the people and we expose ourselves and we say, why aren't there people from different communities in my school? I know we have a thing where you have to live there, but still, my school was a huge thing. We said, well, then why do we find from a different community to maybe come to our school? Why can't we share our resources? Why can't we share what we have? And we need to stop questioning. I also just want to mention a reason why I think we really need to push for love. And that's because I think we as a world are obsessed, absolutely obsessed with differences. And using those differences to justify treating people differently. You don't look the right way. Your color of your skin, the way you speak, what language you speak, what country you come from, whether you're good or bad at sports, whether you're great at maths, whether you're good at design work, you know, the popular person in school, the not so popular person in school. We are constantly looking at each other and finding reasons why we're different and why therefore we can treat each other differently. And I believe that that's the basis of what we live in this world. We are so obsessed with finding our differences that we're missing what we have in common. And we're missing the humanity between us. You're slightly different, so maybe you're not as important as me, and you know, if you get treated badly, it's sort of okay because you know you're not like me or you're not one of us. They, them, others, us and them. Thanks, kids. But that's true. Have you guys seen that? Have you experienced that? It's all around us. And media is the worst. You have to look a certain way, like a certain Kardashian, or guys, you need to play soccer like Ronaldo or Messi. And hopefully we'll start treating each other better and differently. We need to look for a culture of acceptance so that when injustice happens, that's not okay. We will immediately say, whoa, hold up. Why are you treating that person differently? If we truly believe in human rights and if we truly believe that we're free and equal, between us now, sitting at these treating each other with love and respect. And when someone does have the courage to stand up and say that, not in my country, not in my world. And I love how Katie spoke about the first things we can do. I asked a few groups, I know time is up, so I'm going to be really quick. Do justice work in your schools. Start a justice campaign. That's something you guys can start doing now. Even if it's online media campaign, share that positive message. Do volunteerism, justice work. How can you transform society? Run campaigns in your schools, whether it's anti-domestic violence campaigns, anti-bully campaigns. If you can help sponsor a child somewhere to get an education. There's so many things that we can do as youth, and you want to know it's so much creative things that we can do as youth, stuff that hasn't been done before. So think about those things. Think about you right now. A lot of the time when I was your age, I always said, you know, changing the world for politicians, for the humanitarians, and that's also not true. Every single person can make a difference in their own way. My sister's in the clothing industry. So what does she do? She clothes homeless people. That's what she does. She creates enough profit so that she can use that profit to create clothing, to go out and clothe people. My brother, he studies computers. Totally cool. What does he do? On weekends, he teaches vulnerable youth in computers. In every single career path, anything you can do, just respect and love the people today. Some of the student teachers, and you're talking about the great things about medicine, something that we came up with, oh cool, how about, those doctors without borders for a year or two, How about volunteering at a clinic? Whatever your passions are, you've been blessed with your passions and your talents for a reason. Use those talents and use that passion to make a difference. Cool.
This MA, do a quick ad for where I work, because we're awesome. I work for the Center for Constitutional Rights, and I didn't know what it was until my internship there 2 years ago. And I didn't realize how important knowing what the Constitution says, even though I went to law school and I have my degrees and everything. What I saw from just the way you spoke to one another is that even if you may not know what the Bill of Rights says, you have an idea of how to treat other people and what they deserve. And that's because the Constitution is based on empathy, on love, on equality, on not emphasizing difference because it's bad, but recognizing it and respecting it and involving it and being inclusive. So, from just your kind of information, make always amazed at how much it speaks to the humanity of people. And maybe like what Jess and Kelly have done, go into society, into communities, and make that positive difference. I'm going to hand over now to to Christina, actually, and she's going to give you guys our conclusion. And thank you again for paying attention and participating. Give yourselves a round of applause.
On behalf of the Konrad Adenauer Foundation, I would like to thank all of you, the teachers, the scholars, the organizers, for coming sharing your views. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to hear more of your concerns and your opinions. I just want to say a few words why the Konrad Adenauer Foundation, as a German political foundation, is sponsoring such an event. Konrad Adenauer Foundation is a German political foundation. We are affiliated to the Christian Democrats in Germany, Angela Merkel's party. And our main objectives are to promote governance. And what we have realized is that we have to listen, and especially politicians have to listen to the concerns of young people. And this is even more important in countries like South Africa, where there is a huge young population. South Africa is indeed a very young country. If you but on the other hand, it's also not able to vote yet, have some democratic rights and opportunities to make your voices heard. But it's important first to find your voice and to form an opinion. And it's important to actually get all the information to form an informed opinion. Because I think what we heard before, social media is not only or is not always the best way to actually form an opinion and to get an opinion. So I also just wanted to say, because I have the stats here and I found it very interesting, when we look at Germany, where I come from, we are actually kind of fossil society, societal fossils. I couldn't believe it. I mean, only 18% of Germans are under the age of 20, and 27% of people are 60% and older. which is quite a big number of people over the age of 16. So this also means that politicians have different concerns. Like in Germany, they would build more, they would put more funds aside for all their child care facilities and so on. While in South Africa, they would need more money to build schools, creches, and universities and so on. But I think this has various implications, and as I said, it's important that you make your voices heard. And I can only invite you to come to all our functions that we're hosting as a Konrad Adenauer Foundation. We always have the problem that we send out invitations, but only the older generation come to our functions. So it would be great to see some more young faces at our events. You can have a look on our website, www.cas.org.za. I'll also give it to your teachers or to yourself later. And I really would encourage you to come to our event, take part, become more active, and like the presenter say, find your passion. Because I think without the passion, you will not be able to become a very an active citizen. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks.
The patient, get your kids to go. We need a photograph of all the lovely faces. So it's to the door, a photo or a few of us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm back, so very involved, and I'd just like to show appreciation to them. Firstly, Kelly and Jessica, wow, I actually have no words. I've read up on what you do, and it's really, really amazing. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. We really appreciate it, and I think all of us are taking life lessons from you. It was really inspirational. Thank you so much for this. Ruth, thank you so much for the icebreaker. It was very interesting and fun. I have my phone here. I'm not on Facebook. I just don't want to miss anyone. To the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, Christina and Doris, thank you so much for not only the financial support, but also for sharing our vision in promoting the governance, and especially for this morning. This is the first time that we have such with the youth, and nice for us also to work with you, so thank you for that. To Belleville High School, Principal Mr. Duplessis, thank you for the venue. The other people are here, but Ms. Berger for the lovely breakfast, thank you. Ms. Panzergrau for all the logistics of the wall. And then to all the students that stood outside there in the cold this morning greeting our guests, thank you so much for that and making us feel welcome. Also to all the waiters and the supporting staff, thank you so much. To our partners, the Dream Team, I always call it the Dream Team, the CAS, School of Public Leadership and Institutional Arts. Every time that we do it, it's just more successful, and it's always fun working with all of you, so thank you for making this happen. Then, last but most important, thank you to you. Thank you for missing a few classes this morning. It's lovely to have you here. I was sitting there at the back, and I had tears in my eyes because when I was your age, I didn't have the opportunity to be part of these type of events, and I really wish that so I really hope that you take something with you today and that you also enjoyed it very much. We have a program. It's the massive open online course, and it's accredited from Stellenbosch University, and you can do it at your age already, and I would really encourage you to get part and take part in this program. You can come talk to me afterwards, and we can discuss this. It's about good citizenship in South Africa, and I think you have already hearing from all your comments this morning, so it's a really interesting program, and it's part of our university, and we would also like to invite you to take part in that. I really hope that I didn't miss anyone. If I did, I'm really sorry. I don't think I did, but to everybody that met this morning, happen. Thank you so much. And yeah, drive safe and enjoy school. Oh, we have someone more. Okay, good morning, everyone. So everyone has been planning now. So on behalf of our high school, we just like to thank Mrs. Willa and his team for this very
Close at the back and short the ones, please. Can we do that? Thank you.